What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Bluebird Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, currently, Cuban star, WBA, super welterweight world champion, Yordenis Ugas, his trainer, has now confirmed that they will be facing, or they're looking to face, undefeated, unified WBC, IBF, welterweight world champion, superstar boxer who is widely considered by many to be the number one pound for pound fighter in the world, in Errol the Truth Spence Jr. Some people have him number one. Some people have him number two. Some people have him number three. However you fancy it, but he's top three pound for pound fighters in the world. With that said, Ismael Salas, trainer of Yordenis Ugas, he has now confirmed that they are looking to fight, and they've been negotiating to have a unification showdown with Errol Spence for 3 belts. Ugas' WBA, Spence's WBC and IBF belts for July. But there's a huge hang-up that there could possibly be Deontay Wilder-Tyson Fury trilogy in July. And July marks the date that has a lot of fights in July. Most notably, the PBC, Premier Boxing Champions, they have the Undisputed Showdown July 17th between Jamel Charlo and Brian Castano for Undisputed at junior middleweight, okay? So with that said, July is a packed month. So now, according to Ismael Salas, they're looking to have the fight between Spence and Ugas in July, but they're negotiating. The dates could possibly change. But just give you a little snippet of what he had to say.
Yordenis Ugas, que peleamos con Spencer. En julio tenemos también a Alberto Puello, que es campeón mundial.
So you heard him. He said Yordenis Ugas and Errol Spence, they're negotiating for a fight in Julio. Julio means July, okay? Julio in Spanish means July. So he said Errol Spence, Yordenis Ugas, they're negotiating the fight for July. But like I just said, that date seems to be, the month of July is very packed, okay? Errol Spence, he had put out, after the PBC Showtime put out their, lineup for the next 4 or 5 months. Errol Spence, he immediately took to social media and said that Fox PBC needs to put out their lineup. Obviously, he fights on the Fox portion of the PBC. So he's saying that they need to put their lineup out and announce his fight, okay? So you hear Ismael Salas, he's saying that they're still negotiating and they're looking at July. Obviously, both sides have agreed to this fight, but now they're just looking to secure the date. And this is what I stated when I was questioning how come we haven't gotten an announcement for Errol Spence and Yordenis Ugas. What exactly is the holdup? And it seems like the holdup is possibly the situation ongoing with the arbitration between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, which it looks like on Monday or even before this week's over, we can get an official, hearing and ruling on what's actually going to take place. Is Tyson Fury obligated to give Deontay Wilder his trilogy match, or is Tyson Fury going to be allowed to move on and fight fellow countrymen and two-time unified heavyweight world champion Anthony Joshua? Tyson Fury, we obviously know that Tyson Fury, he would much rather face his fellow countrymen in Anthony Joshua for Undisputed Showdown rather than face Deontay Wilder in the trilogy match. So with that said, this is a huge fight for Yordenis Ugas. This is going to be the biggest fight in his career. He had another big fight in his career in which he came up short against two-time welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, Showtime Shawn Porter. He came up short in that fight. Some people thought he won the fight. Nonetheless, the most important people are the judges, and they didn't think he won the fight. So they gave Shawn Porter the nod. So with that stated, this is a massive showdown because at least there was only one belt on the line, Shawn Porter's WBC title. In this case, Ugas is bringing a belt to the table, okay? In that fight, he was just a challenger. In this situation, he's bringing a belt to the table, and there's 3 belts on the line. So this is going to be a huge showdown. It's going to be a huge event. And this is going to be, the biggest fight in Yordenis Ugas' career. Stylistically, I think that Errol Spence, I think that Yordenis Ugas' style is tailor-made for Errol Spence, okay? I think that Errol Spence, is going to, he's just more versatile. They're both very big, strong guys, but Yordenis Ugas doesn't pack a lot of power punches, okay? A power in his punches. He has a Cuban style. He can be slick at times, with his waist movement. He has decent hand speed, but he doesn't have a lot of power, and he's not fleet-footed. He can be flat-footed a lot. So that plays right into the hands of Errol Spence Jr., in my opinion. And I expect Errol Spence Jr. to win this fight, pretty handily, okay? I think that, it's going to resemble a lot of the fight between Errol Spence and Danny Garcia, because I believe that Danny Garcia, is flat-footed. I believe that Danny Garcia, has more power than Yordenis Ugas, and Errol Spence won every single round against Danny Garcia, except the rounds he simply took off, and that was coming off a 14-month layoff and suffering a horrific car accident. I think Danny Garcia is a better fighter than Yordenis Ugas. Yordenis Ugas, 26 wins, 4 losses, 12 wins by way of knockout. That's a clear indication that he doesn't have much power. He's 34 years of age. He stands at 5'9" with a 69-inch arm reach, okay? In his last fight, he faced Abel Ramos, who just recently knocked out Omar Figueroa in dramatic fashion. And when Yordenis Ugas faced Omar Figueroa back in 2019, he got a unanimous decision victory. But, you would expect him, the punches he was landing clean on Omar Figueroa, you would expect Yordenis Ugas to have been able to knock out Omar Figueroa, who's a smaller guy. He couldn't do it, okay? So with that said, now he's going to face Errol Spence Jr., 27 wins, no losses, 21 wins by way of knockout. He's 31 years of age. He stands at 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach, and he is a southpaw boxer as well. That, I believe, is going to be another situation where that's going to prove to be trouble for Yordenis Ugas, okay? I'm expecting Errol Spence to get a unanimous decision victory, if not a stoppage victory over Yordenis Ugas, okay? Like I said, Yordenis Ugas is a counterpuncher, but at times he sits, he waits. He's not very active. He doesn't have much power. When Sean Porter boxed Yordenis Ugas, Sean Porter's game plan speaks volumes, because Sean Porter is a pressure fighter. Sean Porter is going to, push you to every second of every minute of every round for 12 rounds in a fight. He's going to test your will. That's his style. That's what Sean Porter does. That's his specialty. Well, in the fight with Yordenis Ugas, he chose to box Yordenis Ugas from the outside. That's normally not Sean Porter's forte. That's just not what he does. In this fight with Yordenis Ugas, he chose to stay on the outside and box Yordenis Ugas from the outside. And that tells you what they thought of Yordenis Ugas' athletic ability and his foot speed. They don't believe he had it. And Sean Porter was darting in and darting out. And Sean Porter is a much smaller guy than Errol Spence Jr. He has a much shorter reach than Errol Spence Jr., which means he doesn't have the control of distance as well as Errol Spence will in this fight. Sean Porter, 31 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, 17 wins by way of knockout. Stands at 5'7" with a 69-inch arm reach. So Errol Spence is 2 inches and 2.5 inches taller, and he has 3-inch arm reach advantage over Sean Porter. So that lets you know he'll be able to fight Yordenis Ugas from a range and touch Yordenis Ugas from a range that Sean Porter wasn't even able to touch. But he has more power. He's a southpaw, and I believe he's just more skillful than Sean Porter overall, okay? Sean Porter is just a great athlete, probably the best athlete in the sport of boxing currently right now. So with that said, Sean Porter was outboxing Yordenis Ugas. I believe that Errol Spence won't, at some point in time, obviously in the beginning, he'll be cautious of Yordenis Ugas, because this is a boxing match and anything can happen in boxing. But for the most part, he'll get comfortable and he'll get familiar with Yordenis Ugas' punching power, his timing, and I believe that Errol Spence will start breaking Yordenis Ugas down. I believe he'll start walking him down, right? He'll start putting a lot of pressure on him, and I believe he could possibly stop Yordenis Ugas if he so chooses, seeing as though he's back with his strength and conditioning coach, Blu-ray, as well. So that's going to speak volumes in itself. So I believe Errol Spence is going to get a dominating performance, a victory, a dramatic victory, and he'll be a 3-belt holder going into what is seen to be the super fight currently in the sport of boxing between himself and undefeated 3-division world champion who currently is the WBO welterweight world champion. He is widely considered to be by many the #1 pound-for-pound fight in the world as well, and that's Terrence Buddy Crawford. That's the super fight, the biggest fight in boxing currently, and that would be for undisputed. It's already currently right now, if it was made, to be the biggest fight in boxing. But imagine you tack on top of it that it would be for undisputed at welterweight. That speaks volumes. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. But Yordenis Ugas trainer Ismael Salas, he confirmed that they are in negotiations. They was looking at August, but obviously August is a packed month, so they may have to change it to, July. July is a packed month, so they may have to look at August. So let's see how this unfolds. Make sure you hit the like button, drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon, and get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Raw. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV. Wow.